Hello, this is Traci Rodriguez Melendez from All Bases Covered, and welcome to Spanglish World Networks on Zingo TV channels 249, 250, and 251. Please remember to download both the Zingo TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 216 and forward. Welcome to this week's edition of All Bases Covered. With me tonight is my very special guest, not only because she's very special in my life, but she's also one of my clients who I so admire and love. She is the president of Hot Volleyball NYC. So please help me welcome Traci Edwards to the show.
Hello. How y'all
Oh my
doing?
gosh, Traci, I've so been looking forward to this interview. One, because if you guys recognize this face, and you very well might, she has been on many of the episodes of What Would You Do?
Yeah.
With John Quinones. She's been in a couple of movies. And she's also a powerhouse businesswoman who runs multiple businesses. She is married to our sweet brother-in-law, Juan Barrios, and they also own and run a Krav Maga school. So, Traci, tell me what is happening in your crazy world the last couple of months.
Oh my goodness. Trying to get automated. No, the
Yes.
business has been doing pretty well. Life is good. I've been pretty blessed, and just start trying to get summer camps. That seems like it's all the time volleyball and managing personal life and work like everybody. And it's good. You need a team. I realize that you need a team. You can't do it all on your own. So good things are happening. I'm seeing a lot of kids get better at the sports, getting more confident, and life is good right now. Just been busy.
So let's walk people through a little bit of history so that way they sort of understand your background. Um, how and when did you get into volleyball?
I actually started late in life. Well, late in life is eighth grade. Most people are starting earlier. I'm from Texas, and I was born in San Antonio, but lived in San Marcos, Texas. Moved around in Texas my whole life. I think that's what made me more outgoing because I wasn't in one spot
Mm.
my whole life. Started volleyball in eighth grade. I loved the sport. I was very athletic in general, so I loved sports as a whole, and I just fell in love with it. I focused on it in high school just as a sophomore on, but before that, I was doing different sports and wanted to be D1 volleyball. That was it. That was my whole goal. That was my whole mission in life. I didn't even know if anything happened after college because all I wanted was to get a volleyball scholarship, D1, because my dad played football at UT.
Mm.
So the mentality of D1 and the competition and the competitiveness and the love of sports, my dad being there, it was almost like me being his only boy that he didn't have, but him being my role model in sports. So I just wanted to do that. So that's how I started, worked hard. I'm 5'7", I'm a little outside hitter, and they're so big nowadays. There's still room for us little ones, but if that's really what made me start doing this, is because I just fell in love with it, and it created to me, I'm hopefully an amazing woman. So I wanted to do that for other young women and young children out there, boys and everybody. And just giving them that, if you give them the mindset, if you actually want something bad enough and work hard enough and you put in the work and it comes from you, anything is possible. And whether it's D1 or D2, D3, if you have a goal and you work hard enough, you can reach the goal. And I think that's what I try to relay in Hot Volleyball NYC, because there's a lot of kids nowadays that don't have the reinforcement, that come to me and come to the coaches, and we're the mentors for them. And I think it's important for us to have that. So I'm kind of long-winded, so
Yeah, I love
I
it. Yeah.
apologize. Yeah, but I started in high school, and the one thing too that helped me is that my coaches were amazing. And
Mm.
I think I think mainly, well, where I'm from the South, it's hardcore coaching. It's a full-time job coaching.
Mhm.
The other parts of the country, it's sometimes a teacher or somebody who's, you know, they can't, it's unfortunate to try to find, it's hard to find coaches,
Mhm.
good coaches. So I think a lot of kids don't get the training that they really could use to teach skills. So the coaching was huge for me. It changed my whole outlook on volleyball and was able to help me get into college on a scholarship. So it was good.
So so when did you realize that there was a need for you to develop hot? When did that become a thing for you?
Yeah, my husband Juan Barrios, he helped me a lot with that. He actually streamlined it. He came to watch me coach a 2 hour intramurals, was it was called, for one of the travel teams. I was doing that for about 14 years.
Hmm.
And first off, before that, I was coaching at one of the schools here, the private schools, Marymount, and took them to state in the varsity as head varsity coach. So, and I did middle school and everything in JV. So, and then I realized I really, really wanted to help the kids individually. So I was doing that with the intramural program at the travel team, and 2 hours a week, you know, not paid anything, but I just loved the sport. I loved giving back to the kids. And he was there one of the practices, and of course he's like, nah, we got to change this. They got to get moving faster and harder, and you got to push them. This is not babysitting. I was like, you're exactly right. Why have I been doing this like this? And I
Mhm.
think when you work for someone else and you end up not work for someone else, but you end up doing the whole program.
Right.
And so we changed it from then. And then I just started looking for a gym in the city, New York City, which is very difficult.
Mhm.
And not only that, expensive.
Yep.
And I just said, you know what? It took me a year, 1 year to find a court, indoor court. So I know that was a blessing, because as soon as I found it, I was able to open. Juan and I put together a program for us to be able to do a camp. We had one girl show up uh,
Mhm.
for the camp. I'm like, this poor thing, she's gonna get both of us. So Juan did conditioning, I did the skills, and then after that, we started 1 2 hour program in the fall, and this was 2012. We started in the fall, so this is like a 10-year anniversary actually this
Yeah.
year. Actually, right now. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, happy
Congratulations.
anniversary! That's
So
so funny.
I actually remember. So just so we could give folks out there that may be watching a little bit of history, Tony and Juan are brothers. Basically, they've known each other since they're 8 and 9 years old. I always like to say I love the story on how Tony and Juan met, because they met through baseball.
Right.
They lived in the same neighborhood, and Tony was playing. Tony was catching a baseball game, and Juan was standing behind the fence, and Juan was screaming at Tony, "That catcher can't catch." They were kids, neighborhood kids. And Tony happened to catch the ball and did a throw off his knees. And Juan, I remember Tony said it was the funniest thing. Juan goes, "Oh my gosh, you could catch." He says to Tony, and then they became friends, and they've been friends ever since. So this is like a over 50-year relationship that they've had. Um, and Juan, when we were building our baseball academy, Juan was an intricate part. And I remember
Mhm.
the day that Juan actually said to us, "Tracy's starting a new volleyball program in New York City, and
Mhm.
he's gonna name it HOT." So can you tell us what HOT stands for?
Yes, it's high octane training. So it's basically it's teaching these kids how to work at an explosive level, getting the conditioning they need, getting the training that they need, just more intense training than it is babysitting. Honestly,
Yeah.
we're the niche. We're actually we're a niche. It's not about it's about the team, of course, the winning, all that stuff. Trust me, I love to win. I'm very competitive, but you've got to teach someone that. You can't just expect every young child to know what that is. If even when they're competing, they're still guessing on their own. Sometimes you got to teach some kids that either are not athletic, or never got a chance to play, or never got a chance to even attend a clinic. You got to teach them from ground level. So if you teach them the high octane training, if you're teaching them at a higher intensity, higher level, it's gonna help them in the long run, I think, with the training. But that's how we came up with it. And I was like, hot, that's cool, that's hot. So
Mhm.
now everything's based off the hot volleyball program, NYC.
And I think that one of the things that both of us can attest to is that being around someone like Juan or like
Right.
Tony, Tony trained Juan in martial arts. Juan then went on and has, developed his own skills and other practices in martial arts, and actually owns Inglewood Krav Maga now in Inglewood, New Jersey. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but having them as people to look up to, they're very competitive. They are hard-nosed athletes. That's what I like to call Tony. He's a hard-nosed athlete who, doesn't matter if he's hurt or, how something has affected him. I mean, he really pushes through. And
Yep.
I think that in building businesses around them, it also helps us to create that atmosphere within our business, with the programs and services that we create, and even with the way we develop our business.
Mm-hmm.
So how has that been sort of your experience? What have you experienced from that, and how it has sort of shaped what you've made H.E.R into?
Actually, that is interesting because it's true. It's very true. If I hadn't had him as a partner um, for all these years and in my life, I don't think that I would have ever branched out to do that,
Hmm.
even just to start it. He showed me I had a certain way that I was coaching, but I was coaching. I just had a certain way of coaching, and he showed me a whole nother side of it. Like, you need to keep them going. You need to keep it moving, rapid. You need to keep them going, not thinking so much reaction. I mean, a lot of that I had, but as far as drills and creating things that would show how to do that, that's what became the big difference in that. Is not giving them that break, but he helped me be balance out because I'm very, oh, come on, let's go, until
Mhm.
I have to really yell at someone. But he helped me because he helped me create my voice because he was with me for the first 3 to 5 years.
Is that him
Uh,
in the
it's
background?
him. It
Well,
isn't him in the
say
background.
hello. Hello, Mr. Juan Barrios. We are live.
Juan Barrios.
Your bases covered.
Juan.
Um, he's shy.
He can't hear you.
He's shy from the camera sometimes.
Yes. It's not
Um,
his time. He'll have his
yeah, yeah,
time, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. I'll definitely have him on as a guest. So
No, but he helped me balance out at being too soft of a coach and being just enough to be firm. And when I needed to, when you need to be tough, you have to be tough. It's not that you're mean just because you're being tough. It's that it's tough love. You're giving them a boundary and restriction so that they can improve themselves and stay focused. So, but it never hinders them. So,
well, and it's the same thing when you're building a business. I mean, there's a
hmm.
time that you have to really, grind it out, and you got to be tough on, getting projects done or developing certain services or programs. Like right now, you're in the midst of, is this going to be your first full-on camp that you're running, summer camp, or have you
No, I've done it before. I haven't done the whole summer. This is my first full summer, but we have 4 locations. So this is the first year for 4 locations, 2 outdoor and 2 indoor, Upper East, Upper West Side. And that's been the challenge. And I think you go in as a coach, you go in loving the sport, loving the kids, wanting to help and change lives. And then you have to add this whole business side of it that is really, 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 really difficult. So
Mhm.
if I don't have you and Stephanie and Clyde and Kelsey, like if I don't have a certain team of people helping me,
Yep.
then and Ron too. It's difficult. It's difficult. So, but I think you're ready to absorb it and move on when it's the right time. And you never know when the right time is. But when it's happening, you're like, okay, now's the right time. I tried about a year ago, but now's the time. Let's just jump and no matter how painful. But it's all beneficial because as long as the kids get the training and it works out, that's really why you're doing it. It's the goal.
Yeah, and I remember when we first spoke and you said, I really want to scale my business. I remember saying to you, Tracy,
Yeah,
I really see this organization,
yeah,
my what I envisioned for you. I was like, okay, hot volleyball NYC, but there could certainly be a hot volleyball Florida. There could be a
right.
hot volleyball. I mean, this could really be expanded, and you can really create a scalable model out of what you're doing. What I love about, I know I see him walking out. What I
He's sneaking
love,
out.
yeah, yeah. What I love about um watching you grow, like I've watched your process literally from the beginning,
Oh,
and I
you don't. You're gonna make me cry.
watched how you've grown. And, this is what I want people to understand. When coaches like yourself, and the reason I say it is because I've watched it with Tony, I've watched it with Juan, I watch it with you, I watch it with Steve, right? Who also, this is like birthing a child. You birth a baby, you nurture the baby, you feed the baby, you grow the baby, and then
Mm-hmm.
there comes a point in time that the baby grows up, and you have to let the baby like literally grow up on and take its own life. And then
Yeah.
the baby comes back to take care of you. And you're at the point where I truly see that happening for you. I see you expanding out your organization. It's such a phenomenal organization. And to be honest with you, you have done so much in so little time. There are people that takes 20, 25, 30 years to build out what you've built out. You have not only multiple locations, you have multiple programs, multiple services. Multiple camps running, multiple clinics. You do private lessons. So tell us a little bit about what's it like to live in the day of Traci and how, walk us
And
through it.
hot. um, you're working all the time. You really are. And I think most of it, I'm the face,
Mhm.
of course, because it's been my love. And I've hired people that have the same love, and the same personality, the same characteristics, the same qualifications. I've
Mhm.
wanted it to be the branch off of me. So if I'm not there, the girls are still getting great quality coaching and great quality people. Everybody there's a lot of people that reach out to me for jobs, because they're like, I really like your organization. I'm a player in college. I would love to do it. So I have a lot of people coming to here. But the day in life, email, phone calls. I'm the person, so I apologize if I'm not getting your email all the time. I'm constantly all over the place trying to make sure you're balancing out things. So I always used to do everything manually up until literally, I want you to say before September of last year.
Right.
I was putting, and Stephanie came on about a year and a half ago, and she's been helping me slowly transition into getting everything on the computer. But I would register, and then I would go in and put everybody into the roster, and then we'd have the coaches. I'd have print those out and give them to the coaches. I'd have everybody there. I was coaching every single thing up until the summer for 10 years. So I've had coaches helping me. I've had coaches like assisting with me, but I was there every day. Starting in September, we now had the gym at Loyola School, 83rd and Park, every night, every day of the week. So adding that on, I couldn't be at two locations or three locations. So that's when I started branching out. So now it's delegating. It's teaching the coaches how to do it. It's
Mhm.
teaching. I have, Clyde is helping me, several people helping me teach the coaches, do clinics. That's kind of what we've branched into now. Eventually, it's going to be even more detailed, so that it's working better. And emails, phone calls. I go into coach if someone's not available. I'm going to be more hands on in the summer and the fall now, because now I'm not doing so much of the business side.
Mhm.
I'm going to be trying to be there again and keep the kids motivated and teach the coaches how to do that. And being in the city. So I live in New Jersey, so I commute. It's not that bad, but I go over there. I go to each location, whether it's Riverside Park or St. David's Gym,
Mhm.
94th, or Loyola Gym, 83rd. Um, that's it. I'm literally working all hours. I get calls till 10 at night sometimes from parents, because that's when they do it. And I'm very easily reachable.
Right.
And yeah, it's been hard. It's hard, but I love when I can help a parent understand
Mhm.
too, because it's so hard to understand what these kids are going through and
Mhm.
what they want. They're like, my daughter or son want to join, um, and they've never played. Is it too late? They're 10 years old or they're fourth grade. I'm like, no, what do you mean too late? They're on their own journey.
Right.
It's like they're exactly where they're supposed to be. So helping people understand that I'm guilty of that too. I'm always afraid I'm going to miss out. So you have to be okay with where you're at in order to grow and be something you want to be. So I try to give that down. So more of that stuff, if I'm not around, more of that information is what I'm making sure that the coaches and everybody do. So this is more than a full-time job. It really is. Like
Mhm.
I'm constantly working, and but to me it pays off. It's worth it, and I have a good team that's now helping back up with that and be a part of the us growing as a company. So it's the day in the life is always working from 8. I should get up earlier, but 8 to like 10 at
Don't
night. I'm so
stress
bad. I'm
yourself.
like,
You're not part of
please.
that 5 a.m. club either.
Stephanie and Jesse are like, where are you? This is my computer. When I do this, is my computer.
Yeah.
Where are you? And oh, God, Stephanie's done like 3 hours already. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's why I have you.
Uh-huh.
So, but it's fun. It's either gym, on the computer, on the phone. That's it, because I'm the one who answers the calls.
Right.
I'm the one that answers my emails, but my assistant, my operations manager, Stephanie, will help as well. But she does most of the emails that are general information. But I'm the one that solves bigger problems or
You're the
really.
fire putter outer.
And I'm also the psychologist
Yeah.
and the counselor and guidance counselor and
Yes.
volleyball guru.
Yeah.
How do I transition to get to travel teams? Where are they? Because I have recruiting connection as well. I
Right.
try to get these kids. I'm here for the individuals. So to be for the individual, you got to be there for the individual.
Right. And so what's the ultimate goal of someone who enrolls their child in your program?
Ultimate goal, my ultimate goal or their ultimate goal?
Both.
Okay, so most of the time, you have somebody, a parent who doesn't know anything or how to guide their child into the program and what to do. I have so many programs, I'm confused. So I have to try to help them make it a little bit easier. So we start anywhere from intro and move all the way up into intramurals, which still focus on the individual, not the team working together. So that's the concept, because we're a developmental program. So when a parent calls me, I first just say, where are they at have they played before? Yeah, they played before, but they're not really good, or I don't know how they are. I said, well, how is their confidence?
Hmm.
How is the confidence of their game? Do they like playing, but they don't feel like they're confident? Do you feel them really shy about it and all that? And they're like, yeah, she doesn't feel really good. I said, then let's start her from the beginning, because it's not about her. If she's an 8th grader or a 9th grader, there's so much comparing themselves with the people who already have been playing for 4 years. And that's ridiculous.
Right.
Absolutely ridiculous, because there's no way to do that.
Right.
So they're where they're at. You take the child, let's put her into more of a slower pace group so that I can really get her hands on her or him or they, and try to make sure that we can fine tune the skills, create the skills, give them a background of confidence, let them build, start having a little more fun, more confidence, and then let's move them to the next level. There's no rush. You're going to be on the team when you need to be on the team, where the exact right time that you're supposed to be on it, and you're going to be on the right team that you're supposed to be on for that moment. To try to push too hard too quick is too much. But my goal for every child or every athlete is to love the sport, love the journey of going from, wow, I knew nothing last year,
Mm.
to look at me, I've been coming for like at least consistently for 6 months or 3 months or whatever it is, and look, I can get my serve over. Oh, it's awesome. And it's just a matter of each child is individual, but that's my goal. You need to know the skills. I don't care if you're 4'2", 2'5", or 6'10". You have to know how to dig, you have to know how to pass, you have to know how to block. I don't care if you're little, you block like this. Like, you need to know how to hit, back row, front row, and you need to know how to pass. And I have a lot of my coaches that are 6'2" or 6 foot, and they're middle blockers, and they know how to play defense, and they play D1. So I'm
Right.
like, you have to know the core knowledge of the sport. And what I also see that's missing, which is a goal for me, you got to know the skills, you got to build your confidence,
Mm.
and you have to set your goals. That's what I require from these kids, especially in the camps too. But you need to know your own goals. Don't come to my private telling me that, oh, I don't know what I want to do. Well, you better
Right.
start knowing.
Right.
You got to know yourself. Also, you need to know the game. You need to know where the lines are. You
Mm.
need to know the net. You need to know the names of everything, how many players play, all that stuff. People don't understand.
Yep.
That's the confidence.
Right.
That's the confidence that's going to build your child. I can't give people confidence. It has to be an earned thing from themselves.
Right.
And I create the boundary, I create the area for them to excel in. But if they,
Right.
goofing off, and
Yep.
I understand. Fun is fun. Visit with your friends, but as soon as I say let's go, it's whoop, focus
Right.
on coach.
Yeah.
And those are skills for life. So I'm teaching life skills through volleyball.
Right. And it's the same thing in building your business, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
that same kind of mindset, the same thing that we expect from the player, right? Or building up a player is um, the same kind of characteristics that you're building for yourself in your business.
You know
Uh,
what? That's so true. And I forget that aspect, you
Yeah.
know? I
Yeah.
don't forget it, but I think because I've been doing it so much on my own
Mhm.
that you're exactly right. And that's the team that I've created is that I have some people that are like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave you right now because I know you really need me. And I'm like, thank you. And
Yep.
Stephanie's like, I don't want to leave yet. Please don't. Please don't.
Yeah,
So
and
you're right.
what I see with Hot is what we had, when we had the baseball academy, it becomes like a movement. It becomes everybody's on board with what your mission is because they see at the end of the day that at your core, what you're really about is really your players. It's your athletes,
Mm-hmm.
making them
Mm-hmm.
better. It's creating an impact in their lives, in your community. And the reason I decided to then coach sports coaches is because at the ultimate end of the day, my goal is to impact as many young people as I possibly can.
100%.
And we were able to do it on such a great level. I never wanted to lose that, but I knew that we were limited. We were limited by where we were, our community, our space. And I said, now with every coach that I coach and every coach that I help build their organization, how many
Mm-hmm.
kids are in your program?
I'd say each season is about 250 or 300.
Okay. So with every time that Traci or Hot Organization, Hot Volleyball NYC creates something new directly because I helped you do something with that, I have now impacted 200 plus more players that I
Yeah.
would have never reached before. So
Oh, that's true.
indirectly, I am also still involved in the trenches of that. And that's what motivates me every single day. I know it's what
Oh,
motivates you coaches every day. I know because
it does. Yeah.
I live it. I live with someone who feels the exact same way. And so I truly do understand it. And so I know for someone like yourself, it's like I just want to show up at the court. I want to get on the court. I want to work with my players. Like that's where I'm at. The building of the business, although you have a very very clear vision on what you want, I love that you've always been very clear, like this is what my mission is with my organization, this is what I want us to focus on, and this is ultimately the philosophy, and I don't ever want that to change. And I love the way you've built Hot that way. I love that you just said every coach, everybody who comes to be involved
Mm-hmm.
in the organization has to have that same mindset and philosophy. And I love that because in order for you to create the type of impact that Hot is creating and will continue to create, and on a deeper level and a wider field, a wider spectrum, you always want to fall back on that foundation, right?
Yes, yes. And I'm finding the coaches I have really are amazing. They really are. And I wouldn't feel comfortable leaving the gym to people or coaches that I don't feel can can ultimately help those kids so much because when I do go and scout them and look, it's like they're always like fine tuning them and loving on them and tough when they need to, and they're consistent. And
Right.
that's a huge, huge thing too, is getting the coaches and me consistent with kids. I'm not a parent. So that's I think another reason I think Hot works, honestly, is that all the girls and the boys and all the kids, all the athletes are my children.
Mhm.
And I get a lot of calls and a lot of feedback from parents saying, "She made the travel team. Yes, it's so good. She's so excited." Or she's
Mhm.
having trouble this. She didn't make this one, but she's trying to make her team. She just wants to join with her friends. She made her team. She made the first cut, but she didn't make the second cut. Can we work even more? So it's building this desire that these kids want to be better and to
Mhm.
put in the work and the consistency. But having the core and the coaches do the same that I do, it's really awesome to see that. And they feedback with me too, going, I really enjoyed seeing the progress from these kids. It's so cool seeing them grow from here to here.
Yep. Yep.
Um, But that's been the main thing.
And so we've been working together now for a little while. We had worked previously, and now we're sort of like really mainstreaming your next 12 months. And
Yes.
during this period of time, we're going to be working on this, and the next period of time. And it's really about us building out your organization and what that's going to look like, and the systems and processes and automations, so that
Yes.
and so let me, and this is something that I really wanted to touch on specifically because I understand it, because I lived it with Tony, and now I'm living it with you. Honestly, I'm reliving it. And
Probably.
that is that I want, my vision for you is to build out your organization to the point that it literally runs itself, so that you can be working on your business instead of working in the business all the time, because working in the business at your level, with that much intensity, can cause burnout. And what we don't want to have happen is that all that passion that you have for what you do, with so much consistency and so much love, you don't burn the fuel, right? You don't burn out that
Yep.
fuel. And so now we're working on, so why don't you tell everyone what we're working on, and how the Sports Business Institute has, played, a part in what you're doing, and, what are we working on to make it better?
Well, first off, you're a lifesaver. It's been a lifesaver. I'm serious. Like I've called you like all the time. I have no, because I am open to so many hours of being available. I forget that other people are normal people and that don't need to get a call from me at 9:30 at night or 6 in the morning. I didn't do that. But it's so valuable, and I'll tell you why. I the background most of the time, the background of coaches that come in, I can only speak for myself, and I'll tell you exactly my history, have nothing to do with business
Right.
and marketing
Right.
and advertising and taxes and CPAs, and it doesn't have anything to do with that stuff. I've had to learn and pick and choose and figure out and ask a lot of questions and say, please just do this for me. I don't know what I'm doing. So you're putting a lot of other people, not you, but sometimes you put a lot of other people running your money and running, and you can't do that. You really need to stay in touch with everything, and you need to be the one doing it. So you're I say you because I talk to you a lot.
Mhm.
You help. It helps me to understand what I didn't understand the marketing part. And you tried like 2 years ago, Tracy. You're gonna have to get into this. We're gonna have to work on this. It's got to be. We got to streamline. You got. And I was like, oh, I got it. I got it. I got it. And the last 2 years, done. I was like, I can't. I was almost at the burnout. Still
Right.
feeling a little fizzle on the burnout,
Yeah.
but it's only because I'm done. Like I was tapped. I'm like tapped. I'm
Right.
tapped out. So what has helped me is the fact that I have a master's, but it's in acting, and I have a journalism degree. I have a lot of history. I know the sport. I know people. I just didn't know business. So you
Right.
need someone that comes in and says, okay, let me come from the outside, and people you trust. Let me put that out there, because
Right.
I wasn't doing it because I didn't trust people,
Right.
and trusting people are going to steal my people and steal this and that, and
Right.
you really can't make decisions based on fear. That's
Right.
another thing I've had to overcome, because
Right.
if you're gonna, you have to no one's going to be you. I'm talking to the coaches out there. No one's going to be you. You
Exactly.
are your business. You're why they come. So I have to be the face. That's why they come. That's why they're there. I want my coaches to be why my students are coming too. And then I
Right.
keep my coaches around because it's a family. And if you need something different, coaches, you got to, they tell me.
Right.
They need more, they need this, whatever it is, I work with them. So putting the marketing, first off, let's get the website going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's website is outdated. Everybody's website needs to be automated. And that's the thing. I was doing all my registrations manually, which
Right.
I don't know why. I think the transition over to it was difficult. So I
Right.
needed help. You knew the shortcuts, not shortcuts, but you knew the way to do the structure and the path. I had no idea. And so it was a lot of me like trying to fight and kick and scream like a little tantrum, like a little kid, because it's just that it's not comfortable for me. I'm used to being and seeing who's paid, who hasn't paid, the roster. Okay, it's right there in front of me. I can print it out, which I was a printer. I
Mm-hmm.
printed every single thing. And I will tell you, literally had 5 to 10 boxes of papers
Right.
I don't have that anymore, which
Right.
is amazing. Hallelujah. But from switching the website, trying to get the email, constant content, of course, trying to do email stuff, email promotions. I was doing that. But I didn't have everything automated. So
Right.
once getting into the computer, then you started looking for a database. If you can't create one, which eventually I'll do my own, but creating one that's good enough, or works for your business,
Mm-hmm.
using that, like you've helped me, putting it into the website and then structuring everything. Then now we're branching into, and that's taken about 2 years because it was hard to get it started, but we did it in the spring. So I think from September, huge transitions with coaches into the spring. We launched the website, launched the new database, and now I'm able to hear social media, which I've never done social media for hot volleyball. It's all word of mouth. So
Yeah.
amazing that that's even happening.
Yep.
So if I wasn't in the right place to do that, I think the business would have collapsed from the inside.
Right.
You know what I
Well,
mean? If I didn't have your help, because I just wasn't ready to promote without putting places to put people, kids, and structure and all that. So you've created structure for me. You created organization, and you also the marketing. I have no idea. You were talking to me today about a lot of that stuff. I'm like, nah. But it's only because I just don't know it. I don't know it yet.
well,
You
and it's
know?
like I said earlier, right? You birth a baby, you feed the baby, you nurture the baby, and then the baby gets to the point that you're like, okay, I got to let this baby sort of soar. And that's why I've always understood when you're like, well, I'm not really ready for that. I get it because you're very in tune with the baby and you feel like, okay, I know what the baby needs at this point. I see it from the outside perspective where I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we have to grow the baby, and I want the baby now to, be able to feed itself in essence, so that then Traci can sort of focus on what Traci needs to focus on, so we can continue to build this. So,
Well,
uh,
everybody needs a coach.
yeah, you're right. Coaches need
And
coaches.
I
I would say that.
coaches need coaches, and
Coaches
I
need
think
coaches.
even when you're out of shape and you need to work out, like
Yeah,
I need to work out, like it's like I need a coach.
right.
If you don't have enough in you to do it for yourself, first off, you got to believe in yourself. But if you
Yeah.
can't do it by yourself, I need someone to help me structure and do it. You're my coach, and that's invaluable.
Well,
Absolutely invaluable.
and I think the other part with Sports Business Institute, when I'm working with my clients, what I love about this is that I'm able to really hone in on what their real needs are and
Hmm.
how to really work with the coaches. But it's like I'm like you guys as well. I'm a coach that's working with sports coaches, and then there's certain things that I just hand over to my team because I want to stay in my lane. I love being with you guys. I love being with my sports coaches and helping them build businesses. I don't want to focus on what graphic has to be done and what the
Oh,
details
that's
of.
true.
You see what I'm saying? So I
That's
hand
true. I see that now.
so
Okay.
you understand what I mean by that? So Sports Business Institute is my baby. I birth it. I'm the one nurturing it. I'm the one feeding it and taking care of it. But there's certain aspects of it that I turn over to my team because they do it better than I can. And because I
And
want
they just give it back to you to look at if you need to,
exactly,
or yeah, see, that's we're almost getting to that point.
yes.
I just don't have the infrastructure, it's the infrastructure or infrastructure
The infrastructure, but
infrastructure inside to have that. It's there, but we're just nurturing it right now.
yeah, and you do have an amazing team of people on your staff. I mean, they're doing amazing things with you. But of
Oh
course,
yeah.
yes, because you're the head, obviously, yes, you have to know what's going on at all aspects of the business, but that doesn't mean that you have to be in the trenches, right? So you're working on the business, but you don't necessarily have to be in the business. And so it's the same thing with Sports Business Institute. I'm in the trenches, but there's certain things that I am not. I'm working on certain things, and then there's certain things that are being handed off. I say, okay, make this look great. I need it to look great for hot. I expect it to look great. I need this by this date, and this is what
Oh, okay.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
you get more of a date thing too. That's good. That's true.
yeah, deadlines are
Yeah.
really important when we're working on this kind of stuff. So that's why for me, when I'm working with hot, I get it. I understand it because I've been there too. And and I think on that same kind of philosophy that you have, at the end of the day, for me, it is always about the athlete. How are we taking
Yep.
really good care of the athlete? How are we making sure that they get what they need? How are we making sure that parents are pleased with what we're putting out there for their athlete, for their child, right? It's really
Hmm.
important because with every time a kid is happy, the parent's happy. I mean, that's just the way that's always been my experience. If
And
the
happy doesn't always mean these kids being happy doesn't always mean that they get to do whatever they want in practices.
That's
And
right.
that's the trick, is that you're giving them character structure. You're giving them structure on being good human beings, making good decisions, all of those things. So we're partnership with parents. So it's a nice partnership, and you allow us to be able to do that better because you are helping us not have to dive into stuff that we literally don't want to dive into,
Exactly.
and start trusting a little more in that there's more people like us out there.
Yeah, and so
So
so you're releasing the baby a little bit to the
just
babysitter so they
the
can
baby, no,
they,
she's on the backpack. You
yeah,
know that
yeah.
backpack leash? The baby's on the backpack leash.
But you
Not
got
like my what would you do? Not like what would you do when I
no,
tied
no,
the
no,
the
not
children onto the
yeah, definitely not. But
I didn't do it in real life, guys. It was for the show. I tied children on the thing to see what
yeah,
people would
yeah,
do outside a store and took my dog inside.
if you're not
Uh,
familiar with what Tracy's referring to, you have to watch some of the episodes of What Would You Do. It was is it still
Child
airing?
on a Leash, I think. It's on
Yeah,
ABC. It's on the ABC or the YouTube with John
okay.
Quinones.
So
What would you do?
you can
Yeah.
catch some of those episodes. They're really intense, some of them. I remember watching some of them. They were really
But
intense.
don't hate me and don't get mad at me.
Yeah, yeah,
Not me.
yeah. But do bring your kids to Hot
Yeah,
Volleyball
yeah, yeah.
if you're looking for a great volleyball program. Um, and so what's next for Hot?
Well, we just started this year. This year we started intramurals. I started realizing that we had a lot of kids who were learning all the skills. So they were starting fresh. Their skills were great. Skills were great. So I created league development play, which is which is basically a program that once you've learned your skills, you've honed in the skills. Now you can learn how to be on a team. What is a team concept? How do I move as a team? How do I incorporate my skills into team play,
Mm,
like defense or serve receive or any of that stuff? So once I start doing drills with that, it's usually 2 hours, we do drills of each concept. Like if you're hitting from this side, where do you go? And this and that and coverage. Then they play at the end. So that's more of a structured group as a
mm,
whole. We do not go over skills because that already needs to be there. If you need to work skills, in addition to that, you have to join a skills program. So from there, we created intramurals because the kids were not putting it into the games.
mm,
They were stressing out and panicking and not sure and very nervous about it. They didn't quite handle pressure well. So we took it a next step up, and now we have intramurals. We're going to start in the fall. We're going to start third grade through fifth grade
mm,
to kind of get them started with playing, because no, it's just not there. It's not out there. It's not, kids don't usually start playing or trying out for a school team until sixth grade, sometimes eighth grade, seventh and eighth. So I create an atmosphere for them to still learn, still not have a repercussion if they lose, but they have that 1 day a week practice and 1 day a week games. And they start learning, how do I work with my coaches? How do I deal with people that are getting on my nerves, or don't like people? Most of the time, we create a good unit. If there's problems, then I come and talk to them, or this or that. But we haven't had any problems with that. We have really good kids coming, good young athletes coming to the program. But that's a way for them to bond and build their confidence in a game, being on a team before they try out for their teams. So that's the development spectrum.
mm,
Intro to volleyball, nobody's there but beginners under
mm,
6 months. Skills development, we have anywhere from all levels: intermediate, beginner, intermediate, advanced. And you're still working on skills, but we can move you up or move you down. It doesn't matter. Skills clinic, oh, I only have 1 day a week I can go. Boom, let me pop in here. Let me
mm,
pop in next week. You don't have to commit to anything. And then
mm,
you have league development play. You start going into team concept, team play under a nice nurture environment. And then you go into intramurals when you want some more competition. You don't try out. None of my stuff involves trying out. It involves putting and working on how do we can balance the teams and
mm.
and making sure that these athletes are prepared for their tryouts. And my kids make the teams. They make the teams.
Now,
But I can
mhm.
only give you so much. I can give you all the information. I can give you all of the guidance. I can tell you exactly what you need to do, but it's got to come from the athlete.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was something that Derek Jeter said, and I've never forgotten that. And that is that you can teach a lot of things, but you can't teach hustle,
Nope.
right? That has to come from the athlete. But you can certainly motivate them to hustle, and
Yes.
you can certainly be their cheerleader, and you can certainly encourage them and teach them. But that inner hustle really does have to come from the
Yeah.
athlete.
And also help their mindset.
Yeah,
How to
it's super
be
important.
yeah. You
And
can
what
help change a mindset, but they've got to be willing to do it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm working on with a lot of my sports programs is with the brain, um,
Mhm.
the brain thrive by 25. I mean, this is a course that we've developed um, through my brain trainer certifications and the brain trainer and the brain training that I do with athletes and the organizations. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of parents, if there are parents out there watching, I want parents to understand that understanding your athlete is very important. Also, being the force at home, because you're the ones that have to monitor their sleep patterns, the eating patterns,
Mhm.
how much technology they're on a daily basis or hourly, their educational portion to this. Do you help athletes actually acquire scholarships through your program, or can you help them with that process?
We help them as well. I have a lady who's amazing, Kara Hill. She's a recruiter, and she told me I had a seminar with Hot Volleyball on Hot Volleyball. I'll do another one. A lot more kids are wanting to play, and I tell them all the time. You need first off. She was telling me we had the sim, and I'll probably put that on my website because I think that'll help
Mhm,
that interview.
mhm.
Um, you have to be on a travel team. You have to be on a travel team, and you need to get footage. If you're like 6'7" and you're good, but you can't commit to a travel team, or you're 5'2" and you're an amazing passer, nothing gets by you, and you have footage, it's possible. But they need to see you on a travel team. So to get on a travel team, which has scholarships and all that, or a program like I always video. We use our coaches. We use the gym video
Mhm.
the kids. I need a highlight video, a highlight video.
Yep.
So we do have a lot of kids, and I always refer people over to her. But the first thing she asked, are they on a travel team? And if not, can they get footage? Because I had a 6'2" senior. This young woman was with me in the summer camp, had never met her before. Great, great personality, great young athlete. She would just dive for balls. And she's
Mhm.
6'2". And I said, I'm sending you to care. I'm sending you to the recruiter because, and she goes, but I'm not on a travel team. And I said, you know what? Sometimes you didn't get the opportunity. That's
Right.
it. And now you have a different opportunity. And I hooked them up, and I think she did get started talking with coaches and all that, because you can't, like you said, you can't teach hustle. You really can't teach height either,
Yeah, yeah.
unfortunately. But you can teach. I guarantee you. And sometimes the hustle are in the little ones, which like me, like us. And then sometimes they just get the height. So, but
Yeah,
we do help the athletes as much as I can. Once I get them on the travel teams, they're being seen by a lot of other players. But you don't want a travel team to see you before you're ready. So you
right.
got to understand there. It's not I got to get on the travel team. You need to take time to nurture your sport and love the sport. Have fun with it. Stop pushing yourself, and stop parents too. Having kids do all these different things, and they're tired.
Yeah.
They're tired, and they come and they don't have anything to give, and that's there needs to be at some point where you can help us nurture the kids. And there's another thing too. I really believe that kids should play all sports. They
Mhm.
should play all sports up until at least 8th grade, and
Right.
not like be honed in on one sport, because you can get injured, you can burn out,
Right.
you want to be with friends, and then you can quit everything altogether. So I always 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 ask kids to work different sports, stay, enjoy the different sports, and then hone in on the one you really love, because that's what's going to feed you the rest of your life, and that stuff, just feed your
Mm.
spirit and your mental. um, but yeah, we help the kids get the scholarships. It's just a roundabout way, but we sure do.
Yeah, and so you just said something that was so key too. When you partner with parents, this is a partnership because you become, um, you become like second parents oftentimes to a lot of these athletes. They're looking to you for their mentorship. They're looking to you for guidance. They're looking to you for acceptance, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's so important, and now speaking to all the coaches, it's so important that you lead from the front, right? That you lead showing your athletes, putting your best foot forward. And that's why we were so strict in the academy, because we used to feel like we're mentoring these young people. And if we're going to help them get scholarships, well, we have to start acting like it from the beginning, whether they get the scholarship or not. But we want them to walk the right way, talk the right way. Their pants should be where they belong. They're
Of
not allowed to
course.
walk
Yep.
around with, like for us, caps weren't allowed to be worn backwards. Like there was just a sign of respect to the sport, to themselves, to our organization, right? So it's that kind of thing that I think parents also appreciate, right? Because they feel like when they're with Hot, I know that they're in good hands, right? Being in your organization, I'm sure that you have a lot of parents that are like, Traci, I'm dropping off, little so-so, and I'll be back. There really has to be a level of trust for a parent
Oh,
to be.
100%. 100%. And I've built that trust. And the minute that something goes wrong, if I'm not there, if like someone's kind of roaming the halls of the school, which we've had, it's like, some they're just they don't have anything to do and they can get away with it sometimes. So I'm like, I get it. And as soon as I get either someone seeing it or whatever, they're like, "Oh, this girl keeps doing." Okay, okay, great. I'm calling her parent. Like I tell parents, and another thing too is making sure that the kids, you know, aren't doing bad things
Right.
uh,
Yep.
under my watch. I've had some kids maybe leave a practice,
Mm,
and we're going on the assumption that their parents. They said, "Oh, my mom says that I can leave." Blah blah blah. I said, "Okay." Well, usually I get it from the parent and I tell the coach, but sometimes they're old enough. Great. Well, sometimes they're going to see a boyfriend or something.
mm,
So I tell the coaches, you don't let anybody out
mhm.
until we finish or the parent calls me.
That's right.
So it's very, very important because I am reliable for this young child, and everybody's walked out unless in New York City, it's a little different because
Right.
they walk home by themselves.
Right.
But I'm always like, pull your shorts down. You're wearing these little tights. You pull your shorts down. They're a little too high. Let's
Right.
go.
Right.
Or wear your pants. Wear your shorts. Put your shorts on.
Right.
Like wear your pants. You're not going outside looking like that. You're too cute. Come on.
Right. Right.
No, so it's like you have to. I'm definitely the second parent or third parent or fifth or whatever. I
Yeah.
feel like a parent,
Yeah.
but
You're
ultimately it's their safety, and they trust me for their safety. So that has to be a given. And there's also a borderline with coaches and players. Like you can't have personal connection, personal not relations, but personal information passed.
right.
So
Right.
that's just not safe with high
Right.
school kids and all different levels of coaching. So it's a constant making sure that everything is structured the way it is, and that's the protocols that we're going to be working on. And I
Right.
mean, I have some already in place, but those are the more
Yep.
detailed, and everyone signs off. There's so many other things I had no idea was involved in
Mhm.
business. I was like, you know what, I want to coach. Let's just coach. Let's just go
Right.
coach. Got a
Right.
gym, I'm good. Got insurance, yeah, we're good. No, it's so much deeper.
Yeah.
um, and it's worth it. It's just before the burn, you've got to do it. You got to start doing the right stuff before the burnout. And you're exactly right, Jesse.
Yep. Yep. And it takes me back again, right? So you've built the baby, you also protect the baby. You have to make sure that the business that you have built and you have, really busted your hump for stays protected. And there's a lot that has to go into that when you are building a business.
Hmm.
So I've just been queued. We only have a few more minutes left. How do people find you, Traci, if they want to get in contact with you?
It's a hot volleyball nyc.com. And we're still always a work in progress. My phone number is 646-418-4926. Most of the time I'm answering that phone. I do have another phone, but just call that one for volleyball. And we do have summer camps. We start next week. We go all the way to August 26th. and we'll be doing that for the whole time. Riverside Park Conservancy we're with, partnering up with them this year, and then also our summer camps June, July, and then tryout prep. So trust me, if your child needs to learn from the get-go, they're beginner, that's where the place for them to be. If they're advanced and they need to fine tune, or they still need to work on their stuff or get in shape again, we're the place they need to be. So you've got to come, you got to get your child doing it now, because if you put it off till the week before tryouts or season planning or the season preseason, it's not going to happen. It's got to start. It's a year process to get your child ready for a tryout. So please, please, please give me a call. I can walk you through it, and get your child covered. And the kids that always come to me, thank you for showing up, and I thank you for the commitment to yourself and for the love of the sport. That's ultimately why we're here, is to build better athletes. So
Amen.
The young people need love and help. So.
All right. Yeah. Well, it was absolutely amazing having Traci on with us. HotVolleyballNYC.com. You can find her. This show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out SpanglishWorld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Make each day amazing on purpose. And remember to always stay unbeatable. I will see everyone next week on another edition of All Bases Covered. Have an amazing one.